Right, so here's my domino. Probably the best bit of woodworking equipment I own. In fact, possibly the best tool I own. Lovely piece of kit. It really, if you're doing any sort of woodwork, you know, where you've got to join two bits of wood together, this is the tool for the job. It's absolutely brilliant. Bloody expensive, mind, but I think it's worth it. It's not paid for itself yet, but it will in its lifetime, which is going to be really long. This is going to pay for itself. But I currently have a little bit of a problem with it. And it happens, or it shows itself when you say adjoining a stile to a rail, and that it ends up slightly out of alignment. So what you do, let's get this out of the way, to join a rail and stile together, you put them like this. So say this is the rail and this is the stile, and then you just get a set square and you draw a line where you want the domino to be. Now what you do is take the domino and you line it up with the line. So this line here, you line up with that line there, and you push the domino in and it cuts a hole in here, and you slide the domino in. All good so far, and then you repeat the process here, and you slide the two together, and you should find those two lines exactly line up again. And if you've lined up the face here, you know, everything is nice and square, everybody's happy, and you've got a joint made. The trouble is that's not what's happening at the minute. The dominoes fit really tightly in the holes. So if there's any misalignment, you end up with a piece of wood like this. Obviously that's massively exaggerated, but you end up with a misalignment like this, and that's what's happening to me at the minute. I'm ending up with these two lines not quite lined up, and it's not user error. This is repeatable error on every single joint, no matter how accurately I line them up. And I tell you, when you lie that, yeah, when you lie that line across your pencil line, you know, I don't know if you can see that, but you can get that really accurate. You know, there's no way I'm more than a tenth of a mil out when I line those two things up. So there's some misalignment in the machine, and I think it is actually with this piece of plastic, because as you can see there's two screws here, and I thought they were just screwed home and set perfectly, but I don't think they are. There's a tiny bit of adjustment. There's maximum a millimetre of adjustment there. Let me see if I can zoom you in so you can see that. Yeah, so there's just a tiny bit of adjustment here and here, and you can see, I don't know, just down here there's a bit of a gap, and it's hard up against here. So I think that at some point somehow this has become slightly misaligned, and I mean the error I'm seeing in my finished piece is only half a mil at tops. So I think if I set that to roughly the centre, I should have well-aligned dominoes. So that's what I'm going to try now. I'm surprised they slipped. They're reasonably tight. I think I'm going to take them out and just blow off the dust. Hope I don't regret taking these out. It's quite a fine thread. Yeah, it all looks in good nick. Right, so I reckon if I centre align these, done it up too tight already. Hate doing things like this just in case I crack it. Right, I'd say that's by eye Yeah, so by eye that's now pretty well centred, and I'll give that a quick go. So I'm about to cut a couple of test holes, but it's going to be a bit noisy because I need to run dust extraction as well. The domino itself is actually a surprisingly noisy tool, but if you don't run dust extraction on domino, it really compacts the dust in and around the gubbins of the machine, and you definitely lose a bit of accuracy if you're not careful. Fortunately, the connector for a Henry fits rather nicely on there. That's a bit of a win, because obviously the connectors that you buy from Festool cost an absolute fortune. Yeah, I'm just running a basic, what's that, 6x40 domino, and all I'm doing here is just finding out if these two lines will line up now that I've adjusted the sighting tool. There we go, test the newly aligned domino. Just 2 scraps of wood, butted up as if you were making a cabinet door or something like that. And what I like to do is lay my square along here, along the back edge. Obviously you'd have jointed all your boards nice and flat and square. And just stick a line along there, and then all you're doing is dominoing along that line. And what I want is these two faces to be aligned once I finish the domino. Now, I do know from talking to some cabinet makers that typically you would just use a table saw to just cut that square afterwards, so it wouldn't be that much of an issue for them, but I don't have a table saw, so I have to try and make sure they're aligned. Right, moment of truth. Oh, perfect. Absolutely, those two faces are spot on. So I'd say that's job done, and the reference across here is quite good. This piece of wood, because it's from the centre of the tree, is a bit warped, so the alignment's not as great as it could be. The domino seems to have rested about here, because this is slightly high, but you know, obviously this is just a piece of wood from B&Q, so it's, you know, it's banana wood. I'm chuffed with that. That is nicely fixed. Little tip for your domino. What I suggest you do is for each size of domino, you get some dominoes and then just sand them on the big faces, on the largest faces, because then you can use them for dry fitting, and you can get them out easily. Because if you don't sand the faces, what you end up with is this, and there's no way you're going to pull that out of there. But what you can do is just get a quick clamp, and you know, just quick clamp that on, and then hit it with a mallet, and it does come out, but of course you risk marring the wood. Whereas if you sand the faces, like I've done on these, and all you're looking to do is take off the pressed marks on them, you know, so the size markings, and then you can just use them over and over again. It's a really quick way of dry fitting stuff. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more workshop videos, and don't forget to share and like. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, please leave a comment below. Bye till next time.